Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being, oops, we're getting excited. We've skipped ahead already. Thank you for being here for this training, whether you're here live or you're on the replay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to teach this training because not only right now, I think this is a really important conversation to have. This is something I've been teaching for many, many years, but I'm seeing a pattern go on right now. There is a definite way that we are dealing with other people. And if you're energy sensitive or intuitively guided, it's upping your feeling of being burdened. And we're saying things like, other people's shit and I want to get out of their crap. And today I really want to dispel some of that so that we can step out of thinking that it's us versus them. And we can really understand what does it mean to be energetically sensitive or intuitively guided, and what is the opportunity, which we may think is the superpower. So I'm so excited to be able to teach this, and you're all here learning about this today. Let's get started. Okay, so what I'm going to cover is, let's just be really clear what we mean, what we're saying, what's energy sensitive, how is it impacting you. I'm going to go into the top 3 burdens that impact sensitivity and what you can do about it straight away. This is going to be a bit controversial, but why we need to stop the letting go. I'm going to dive into that a bit differently today. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can actually ground into your confidence, because I think that's one thing that is definitely missing when we're talking about being this beautiful energy sensitive person in the world and the role that we're really here to play. So let's get started. How do you know if you're energy sensitive? So you're here live, Avril. How do you know that you're energy sensitive? And if you're on the replay, please note this down for yourself.
Oh, it's such a good question. For me, it's being able to feel a room, just feel a room, feel other people's energy without trying. Yeah, it's just always there, always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time?
Yeah, for me, it feels like it was just always there. Like if there was almost not a first time, because it was only when I started having discussions with you that I realized what it was.
Beautiful. So let's be clear. It's someone, as Avril has said, who feels energy of other people, also the energy of our own environment and the wider environment around us. We actually don't have to be in physical connection with someone to feel their energy. And I think, in 2021, it started in 2020, but in 2021, how many times have you heard people say, I can feel the collective? Like in the 15 years I've been working with energy, I've never heard people talk about the collective the way they do now. And so that's really fascinating that, yes, we're all getting this experience. You don't have to be in the physical presence. And it's a physical, emotional reaction to the energy. And I'm also going to say, I believe it's also a spiritual one, which is, I think what we're really tapping into right now is the fact that because we can feel the collective, we're also feeling the type of vibration in the collective. It's not just the amount of people that we can feel. We're now starting to discern and feel into, oh, well, that person feels different to that person. And when we have certain circumstances happen around the world, we can feel it come at us. And so we're now having that spiritual understanding of, oh, well, we're all spiritual beings. We may not be on the same wavelength or the same path or at the same level right now. So I really want to be clear, that's what we're talking about when I'm saying energy sensitive person. Okay, let's talk about the gift. What does it feel like when we're in the most amazing part of the sensitivity? I mean, let's be honest. It's light, it's connecting. I find that it's awe-inspiring at times, very insightful. What about you? What do you feel? And if you're on the replay, please note this down. When you're in this space, Avril, what do you feel the gift? How does the gift feel you? Sorry.
It feels joyful and expanded, playful.
Yeah. And so I wanted to start with the gift, because we often just go, the burden is so in our face, we forget there is another side to this coin. The gift is so strong. And right now, I think I would love everybody who's watching this just to take 3 seconds to remember that there is another side to this phase and this experience that we shouldn't be taking for granted, that we actually need more of this in our life. Because the burden, let's be honest, it feels heavy. It's pretty unpredictable, and it's at the mercy of other people. So it's a very external experience where we're carrying the environment literally on our shoulders. But the impact of that burden is that we slow down and we wait. And sometimes I'm watching people stop altogether. I'm watching them compromise. They're holding back and they're focusing on the impact of other people. So we definitely switch our attention to say, well, that person, it's them or it's over there. And we're trying to then process all this energy from a very limited perspective, which is something I really want to uncover for us today. So where are you at right now? You think about the environment, you think about the energy that you're feeling, the other people that you're around. Maybe you're online and it's feeling quite hostile. It could just be navigating day to day, walking down the street, if you're able to walk down the street. What does that feel like? So just let's have like a minute reflection. Where are you at right now? And I'm going to share some things that people have been saying. So when you think about the energy, and it's mainly the burden, what's coming up for you? Do any of these resonate? And April, if you've got anything to share, please share.
For me, it's that feeling tired, feeling perpetually tired. That definitely resonates. And the holding space. Holding space feels exhausting right now.
It's challenging, isn't it? And there's because that physical element of our own body finds it hard to process the type of energy, the level of energy, or type of vibration. But then we have the volume on top of that as well. And so while we're, if I work with clients I'm working with, it's what we've been able to do in the past has worked really well. We do a self-care Sunday, we take ourselves off to a bath, we do some grounding, and everything's fine. But what we're all saying now is, actually, no, it's not actually having the same impact anymore. It's not affecting me like that anymore. So turning up every day feels harder and harder and harder. It's like a bit of a cumulative effect of all that energy at once. So where are you at? Take a point. Now I want to share this photo, this picture, because as a beautiful energy sensitive individual, you have access to all of this. And if we look into the picture, there is some amazing aspects that we get to deeply connect and feel on a daily basis. And there are parts of the picture that you might be drawn to and attracted to straight away. You might not realize there's a river at the top and then there's some butterflies at the bottom. But the reason I like to share this photo and to reflect is that the possibility of energy sensitivity far outweighs the burden that we carry or we think we have to carry. Because that's a myth. It's a story that says, yes, you can have these amazing gifts, but only if you carry the burden. And so we don't look at the burden as something to change. We just look at what happens is that we start to self-doubt our gift or our ability to do what we need to do, and we hold ourselves back. But today I really want to get underneath the burden aspect so we can break free from that. Because unless we start to rewrite that story, we're going to continue to play this out. And right now, this beautiful, amazing opportunity is here in front of us to feel, but we don't have to feel it all at once. And it doesn't have to be about other people. One of my most amazing things about this picture is reminding that everything is connected. We are connected to everything, whether we want to realize it or not. And so therefore we have the power to actually feel what it is and how much we take in or not. What's your favorite part of this picture, April?
Oh, for me, I was immediately drawn to the butterflies in the garden. Yeah. And it took me a while to notice the lion up the top.
Yeah,
There's so much detail in there.
yeah. And I don't find it overwhelming because I realize it's all available. It's not, I don't have to work it out all at once.
Mm.
I reckon I've looked at this picture at least 20 times. I still see something new.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, so why is this so important to me? So if you don't know who I am, I just want to take 2 minutes to let you in a little bit about who I am. So I used to work in a corporate environment 10, 15 years ago now, I can't remember how long. And one of the things that led me into this area of looking at human behavior and energy was I was noticing the duplicity of human behavior is that we might turn up, especially in that environment, with titles, with expected experience, with the word leader in front of our title or in our title, but the behavior did not live up to the expectation of what we were going to get. And this duplicity was not about personality. It was really about consciousness. It was about how much weight were people putting on their title and their position and their experience versus the accountability and self-responsibility of turning up every day. And so this duplicity in human nature means that we have an opportunity to go, oh, we can shift our vibration. We don't actually have to buy into the external version of who we think we're supposed to be. But personally, this duplicity hit me in the heart because, of course, I was behaving like that as well. And when I left my corporate career, as an executive director in an investment bank, which always still, I don't know who that person was, but I was that person at one point, that I was sort of like, wow, this is not really who I am. And my energy sensitivity came back full force. It was always there. And I remember sitting around the executive table one day going, I can feel what other people are thinking and feeling right now. And part of me is taking that on. I was going home at night and I would start to talk like a person who was in the room. I'm thinking, where does that come from? Realizing that not only was I just picking it up, but I started to mimic the vibration and mimic the behavior, which is something that's really important when we're energy sensitive, is we can do that all the time. I know sometimes if I've watched TV a bit too long, I get up and I start talking like the person and behaving like the person. And given your reaction, I'm suggesting you might do that as well. So energy sensitivity is not this, bestowed gift to a few people, which I think is a story that we were told many, many years ago. You're gifted, therefore you must carry that burden. But in reality, as that picture shows, we are all very connected, even through the magic of television. I hate the fact to think that my life was at the mercy of other people. So I started to make a change. I educated myself deeply in the world of energy. I first came across it when I was studying my master practitioner of NLP. There was a 14-hour module in there that basically uncovered for me why my world felt the way it did. Not just sensitivity, but behaviors, the masculine and the feminine all just come flooding in, and the lights, the heavens open. It was like, the angels started seeing this is the stuff you need to know about. So I basically went full on, heading to training, conferences, learning everything I could. And there was this really deep missing link for the conversations that I was definitely being taught back then. And I really wanted to change that. I still do. That we don't actually have to carry the burden. The burden is a story that it's actually patriarchal in nature, that if you have, especially for women, we can give you this gift, but we're going to hold you back with this burden. That you can't have all of it unless you want to take the good and the bad. That good and bad story is a crap story that actually is deeply, deeply entrenched in the conditioning of the patriarchy gives to us. We connect, and the impact of that is we haven't yet explored the depths of what energy sensitivity is really about. And as we're coming into 2020, into 2021, the role of the leader is quite obvious. It needs change. It's not just about compassion, and it's not just about kindness. It's about understanding the vibrational impact that you have every single day. So I believe now it's the right time for us all to take stock, get rid of the burden, get rid of other people's shitty vibration, so we can deeply understand our superpower and step into this change role a bit more. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you for listening. Okay. So let's look about how we take your energy sensitivity from burden to superpower. Are we ready? Okay, let's look at burden number one, because there are three main burdens that we have that we need to kick to the curb. The first part is that we feel like our sensitivity is happening to us. We have no control. And this is the burden of the physical overwhelm. We often say these things when we get exhausted or we feel like we've hit our limit of tolerance and we can't work out how to get back down again. And so this physical overwhelm is real. It's not in our head. And right now, it means that it's stopping us from stepping up and keeping going every day. Like it feels like it's holding us back and pulling us back because our physical body's trying to process, but so is our emotional body and so is our spiritual body. So the burden number one can make us feel a little bit like this, because it is a day-to-day reality and we can feel like a lint attractor. We pick up on energy even if we're aware of or not. Right now, the collective is throwing the car in our direction. It does overwhelm the physical body. We have to remember we're in a physical body and it challenges our ability to tolerate. How do you go with number one, Avril?
Yeah, that what's really coming up for me, Maria, is the way look, it's taking the words out of my mouth because I'm still processing it. That idea that our sensitivity can be a gift. Like I definitely fall into that story of it's a burden and it's exhausting and it's and I repeat that to myself. So the idea that it can be a superpower is, oh, it feels big, actually. It feels really big. Big breath in there.
Yeah. I witness you in that because the story is so entrenched, we already like try and weigh it up. So for the amount of burden that I have, like my gift comes back to hold that, because our physical body you can't hold both at the same time. So when our physical body is overwhelmed and we're saying, oh, this is the burden component, we vacate the gift to be able to sit here, and we get distracted and sitting in this space because the physical body is so overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's resonating.
Starts to feel, I can't tolerate this anymore, and we start to feel even more into the deeper shitty part of people's vibration. So the more contracted we feel, the more contracted we feel from other people's energy. And the cycle gets even heavier. And the emotional impact, it does feel like we get worn down. Like, I mean, when I work with people, their physical bodies feels like their shoulders are slumped and we're sort of a little bit hunched over. It has a weight, a physical weight in ourselves.
This is interesting because I've got physical shoulder pain, shoulder issues at the moment. So it's manifesting in my body, and then it becomes that vicious cycle because I seek to protect myself and play that smaller game.
Yeah. So it's real, like the physical body is doing what it needs to do, but we need to help it. We absolutely do. So this is burden number one. So the thing that we need to do about burden number one is we need to know and learn what our own energy feels like. So we can tell what's ours and what's not ours. So we're actively then cultivating a relationship that's like, I actually don't need to carry anyone's energy, but I have to know what it feels like first. I can't just say protect and my way out of it if I don't know yet deeply what mine feels like. What is my dance space? What is your dance space? Like, what is that? And how do I know that at will so I can easily get rid of what's not mine? We're overly confused about what we are carrying, because I'll guarantee you get back to your superpower pretty quick when you know what's not yours. So let's look at burden number two. I think this is a big one right now. We're waiting for other people to change. We're sitting there thinking, I've just got to wait this out and it'll all go back. Or once that person gets it, or maybe when they wake up, or maybe when they read this article, or maybe when they And so the impact for us is we just sit and we're waiting, not doing anything, and being bombarded with their vibrational shit. Now, it's like this is not about people's personality or them being right or wrong or anything like that, but the vibrational heaviness feels crap. So let's just call it what it is. So we're waiting for people to change. This is a big one, always has been, but right now it's even bigger because it makes you feel like this. I love her face. Helps us care, makes us stay small, and we're placating other people's shadow. We're waiting for them to see. We're waiting for them to say sorry. And all this waiting is actually enabling them. We're enabling this contracted vibration just to keep cycling and cycling and cycling and cycling through without actually putting a stop to that dance. This is not about being aggressive or saying you're right or wrong. It's a totally different approach. It's not about your mindset. It's definitely not about high vibes. It's definitely not about your self-care. You've all got that under control. But we can't enable the people that probably need our help the most. The people that need our support, our superpower can support and guide. We are waiting for them to be okay for us to guide them. And so the cycle is quite vicious. And I'd like everyone to take a minute just to think about, you know, who or what are you currently placating? Who are you waiting for? Whose energy are you expecting or needing to shift before you can do your thing? Whether that's feel more joy in your life, feel nurtured, feel connected, or even maybe it's work that you want to bring into the world. It's something you want to share, but you don't want to share that through your voice because you're waiting for the people around you to be less hostile or get it, whatever get it means to you. And this could be really small, but the impact is that you hold back and you compromise yourself and you play smaller than what you need to play. Now, when we say big or small, it's not about get out my way and give me the microphone. This is about us in our body being able to have confidence and be grounded in the confidence of who we are. We can't do that if we're waiting for other people, placating other things to happen. So one of the big ones I know right now in some of my clients' lives is they tell me, I'm waiting for the government to stop. I'm placating the government. So I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to wait. Just to wait for this all to be over. And that is not a wrong decision, but the government, doesn't matter where you live in the world right now, is not vibrating at the highest consciousness that they have access to. And those systems and structures are not designed to do that. So we're sometimes expecting people to be something that they're not by waiting. And they're probably waiting for someone else to change the dance moves. And not like we're waiting, and of course everyone's just looking around going, well, what's going to happen now? So we wait and we placate. We actually have hold the status quo deeply in place, whatever that is for you. This could be a conversation with your mother or your partner or your children. This could be the way that you're bringing your business to the world. Like you might have something new that you want to birth and you're waiting for the coast to be clear. Do you have one that you want to share, April? You don't have to.
You took it out of my mouth around the government. That was definitely one. Oh, I just need to wait for election time. But the other one for me that I've noticed has just popped up is around birthing something new in my business. And nobody else comes to mind that I need to have the conversation with. It is more around that I've been placating my own shadow. Or rather enabling my own shadow, or both. Yeah, both actually. Yeah. Yeah, waiting for permission. Once upon a time, I would have blamed my parents or blamed other people. Whereas this is giving me real clarity around, I just need to have a chat with myself here.
Yeah. And we're not doing anything wrong. It's just a condition we get used to because we're carrying this idea of the burden. And so I've got to attend to the burden all the time before I get to do my stuff. And because the vibration of energy right now feels divided and separated, it's not about the topic, but the impact of the energy is disconnected. it feels a bit harder to reconnect, and that's natural because of what's happening vibrationally. It's interesting, isn't it? So burden number 2 is we need to switch our focus from the sensitivity part, the actual burden part, to the energy part. So one of the things that what happens when we adopt the burden and gift story, or our sensitivity, and we take on the burden, is that we don't realize that energy itself behaves in a very specific way. And the sensitivity part is potentially part of the equation, but we're too focused on how sensitive it is and not enough focused on the actual energy. Because energy is a really consistent form of information. It behaves the same way all the time, and we have more power and more impact when we connect to the energy part of it and less to the sensitivity, because the sensitivity leads to the burden conversation. The energy part leads us to the power conversation. Because when we understand the way that energy behaves, how it actually connects with us physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and it connects us to other people, we then have the roadmap out of the burden and the gift story. Now, I'm not quite sure if anyone's heard that before, because they don't necessarily go together. Energy and sensitivity are two separate things. And so if you want to switch out of placating and waiting, we need to focus you more on understanding the principles and foundations of energy and how it actually forms itself, rather than sensitivity. Then you get to lead the energy dance. Then you get to get rid of people's caca. Okay, looks number 3. This one I think is a really personal one that I needed to add in, because even though we've been overwhelmed right now with vibrational shifts, which I honestly full heart know that it's leading us to somewhere else, that we also got our own stuff going on. And sometimes our energy sensitivity can feel like it pulls us out of our own alignment, seamlessly out of the air, at will, like I have no control over this. So I wanted to share this because I get that this is probably maybe a little bit heavy on people's hearts, because it can end up making us feel like this. We have no control. You don't know where it's coming from. There's transitions that have no ending. You question everything, and it happens out of the blue. And you can have this question of, I don't know who I am anymore, and the doubt creeps in. One of the things that energy is always doing, it's always in flow, it's always dynamic, and it is transitioning. And sometimes, so we have our own energy cycle, our own energy stuff, the way that we interact, our own relationship with our own energy, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so while it can feel out of the blue, it is always in that dynamic flow. But this one can take us out. It can lay us in the corner for a number of days. It can, because we think that we have no control over it. But I want to just switch this up for you. So burden number 3 is, you must know your own energy cycle. You're not, while we're connected, you are an independent individual human that has their own cycle. So this means sometimes it's time for our masks to come off so that we can become more grounded in our confidence of what it really means to be sensitive and intuitively guided. I don't know how many conversations I've had with people over the last 10, 15 years that talk about being out of alignment, therefore I can't do my work, or I've been pulled out of alignment, therefore I must sit on the sidelines, or I'm pulled out of this, and it's happening to me. This is all happening to me because I've been pushed out this way and I'm in a transition. Transitions are real, don't get me wrong. We're always transitioning. We're always being asked to be part of that next level. But we can put the mask on because it helps us feel safer, and I understand it. But when we know our cycle of energy and what it's doing and how it feels, a bit like burden number 1, when we understand how our own stuff feels, we can become far more confident in what we're doing and what we're working with than just feeling like we're being pulled around all the time. Because being in alignment is really, really amazing, but alignment doesn't necessarily mean I'm on today. Like, we don't have to wait for everything to be feeling amazing to be in alignment. That's a misnomer when it comes to energy. Any feedback about this one, April? I can see you nodding there.
Yeah, that really resonates. That one of the ways I buy into my story is around the alignment, that I don't feel amazing, therefore I'm not in alignment. And it's quite a high expectation of alignment.
It is.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure to put on it and myself by doing that. That's really lit a light bulb.
And so sometimes we think of alignment, we think of a line, like a spine's in alignment. So everything is structured and it stops. But energy is dynamic. Energy is always moving. So alignment will mean different things all the time. And when we try to capture energy and hold it in alignment, that's the moment when we pick up a burden. That's when we start to pick up the contraction, because we've stopped the flow and we've stopped being in that phase of dynamic nature, which energy is one of the things that energy is that we don't learn about. We assume that it's something we can hold and we can hold tight.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, so where are you at right now? Where are we feeling? If you think about your burden and gift, are you in the more burden camp? Are you just feeling like, I just want all this to stop and can we get to the end of 2021? Like, what's going on? Like, are you wishing the time away? Are you not really wanting to know anything about where you're at, but there's something inside of you that's going, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it like this. Let's just reflect where you're at right now. And April, if you want to share, please feel free. And I'll share myself. There are some big movements happening. There are big transitions happening around us. And so anybody who is sensitive and intuitively guided, you have the right now to feel overwhelmed and burdened. You have the right now to feel tired and exhausted. You absolutely within your right to question what the heck and what the heck are we going to do about it? Like, you're quite within those rights. There's no superpower required here, as in you're not superhuman. You have these amazing gifts and powers, but you're not expected to be superhuman right now. I do think there's light. I do think there's light in change. Is there anything you'd like to share before I go on?
I feel it's interesting. I feel I'm in Sydney and we're just out of lockdown, and I had imagined I would feel a great deal more freedom because of the physical freedom. But I feel like I'm in a bit of a gestating period where I'm not currently creating as freely and easily as I normally would. And I am finding that a bit frustrating. And I keep coming back to the idea of it's okay to be patient. It's okay.
There's a lot of distraction coming in lockdown, isn't there? Like, oh my God, there's people, there's energy. Like, what's going on? Step back.
It does. It feels really loud. It's like, loud, everywhere, loud, a lot.
Yes. And so we're navigating lots. There's a lot of distractions going on. There's a lot of things that we are being pulled around by. And if anyone's sitting there questioning versus self-doubt, I think is a thing that's really important for me, is that just because the energy is loud and it's different, we are in a very specific problem right now, because we are an amplified event, and we can feel more people becoming aware how sensitive they are, what energy is really about. And we don't really have a lot of guidance on how to do this, so we can actually access the potency of what we're here to create, rather than be held back. But there's a lot of distraction, so it's okay. It's okay that we're distracted. The question is, do we really want to stay distracted? So I want to have this conversation now about letting go. And this might seem like quite controversial to people, because we've been told for a long time that just let it go. Let it go. Just let it go. And there's a movie made millions of dollars about letting it go. But the truth is that there's a difference between when we let things go and what I believe we now need to step in, which is purging. And I'm going to just share a little bit of a story that I like to share because I like this story. And it's about we need to look to nature. So we said to nature, just let it go. Let it go. And we then were able to decide what it was we were letting go and not letting go. These beautiful trees would come around every season when it's time to drop these leaves and it's time to, look like this. And it might just decide, I don't want to let it all go. I want to hold on to some of this. I want to hold on to, let's say 10% of my leaves this year. I'm not going to let it all go because I can't let it go. I feel fear of letting it go. I'm not quite sure it's on the other side of letting it go. Like, you want me to look like this, bare and exposed, with no guarantee of me ever feeling any good anymore. Like, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to hold 10% of my leaves. And then the next season comes around and the same thing. No, I'm not going to let things go. I'm going to hold on to a little bit. And so it holds on to another 10%. You could probably see where I'm going with this is that trees do not let go, they purge. If they were letting go, they would soon strangle themselves and they would die because they can't afford to let go. They can only afford to purge. They have to get to this point where they say, I'm no longer going to hold any space because I have to believe and nurture myself 100%. And I trust that when I purge, I will come back and look like this beautiful, amazing tree. And I might even grow. Any more further because when I'm purging, I'm grounding. I build more confidence. I get stronger. I understand myself more without the distraction of other people, the expectation of another tree or the sun or anything. I get to do me, but I can't do that if I just stop at letting go. I have to fully purge. The reason I want to share this is because I think the burden and the gift and the cycles we're in now have far too much letting go, but we don't actually really ever let go because we have this safety net built in. I moved house this week and I thought I'd let go of a lot. And let me tell you, I have far too many boxes. I have not let go of enough because I didn't purge. I let go, but I didn't purge. And there's a big difference. If I was purging and really honouring my life and where I wanted to step in and where I want to step into where I am right now, I would have had hardly any boxes at all. Not because it's just material stuff, but because the reason I chose not to get rid of them at the time. And so I just want to just put in here that letting go is great, but we need to be able to purge to step into this beautiful superpower, that decision that I don't have to hold space for anything other than myself. And everything is going to be okay. Everyone will be okay. In fact, if I purge, it's more likely that they will grow themselves. That I will no longer enable them, so they will definitely grow into this beautiful tree with these. It's been around for a very long time, as you can see, the root system, and it's magnificent. But at some point, it was this purged version. So what are you letting go of, but not really stepping into? What are you holding space for? If we go back to, burden number 2, what are you holding space for because you think you have to, that you are obliged to? Purging is not about big declarations of, that's it, I'm out. Purging is an internal commitment that says, what have I just committed to myself and understood this a little bit differently? I gave myself space to really connect to it without having to feel responsible or burdened about other people's energy. What would happen then? And that's a question, it's a serious question I've got going on in my life right now. So I'm guessing it's going to be a serious question for you too. Is there anything you'd like to reflect on there, Avril? You don't have to.
Wow, that has, I felt the the resonance of truth, as you explained, the difference between letting go and purging, that I recognize I'm very good at letting go. I let go regularly. But that's a huge difference from purging, which is all about trusting, just totally going there. And I'm thinking of my weight loss clients. It's like letting go is almost decluttering all your larger me clothes, but keeping that sneaky pair of elasticated tracksuit pants just in case. It's like not fully backing yourself in the changes you're creating. And I, as you explained it, I just had a massive moment of clarity around that there's very little trust, self-trust in letting go. But when we purge, it's all about trust.
And knowing that, so for me, when I think about the energy sensitive part, there is some reason why we hold on to other people's energy, or because we think it's safer, or because we think we're going to, hurt them, or we're doing the wrong thing, or how dare we have our own independence of self. But the fact is that when you make that decision, you're going to let go of things. You're always in the process of letting go. You're always in a cycle. I'm going to let go a little more. I'm going to declare a bit more. We're going to do a little bit more. But when we purge, we don't have to physically do anything other than the first thing is to say, I'm committing to this. I'm committing to know more about what this actually has to offer. What's the power of this sensitivity that I have and my energetic nature as a human? What if I just committed to knowing more about that? And in doing that, I commit to letting go of my first barrier of having to hold the space for somebody else. Their energy. I have no responsibility to my partner or my mother or my past or even my future. I have to purge that out of my condition so I can fully understand and go deeper into who I am right now. And it hit me between the eyes as I was carrying box number 35 into my new house going, oh, Dale, you need to purge. Like this feels heavy because you're still got things in here that you don't have to carry physically in a box anymore. You need to really commit to the next phase.
Oh, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you so strong.
And we see it in our physical, and we see it in boxes. But the question is, have you really ever committed to your sensitivity and the power that it has to offer? Is the question that I'm asking. So it's all about grounding into our confidence. Let's just start to bring this into a space of, well, what do we do next? We are here to bring potent work to the world. You have something specific, maybe it's you learning more about you to hold space, but that is potent in itself to bring to this world. When we ground into confidence, we can do that. We can also take our masks off without any fear. We stop waiting for other people and we start doing the shifting. We know our energetic power on this unwavering level that we know what it is, how it works, where we're at. We don't have to guess anymore. We don't have to be in the burdened state. And for me, that's growth for everybody. So when we talk about making our shifts into our superpower, we must be grounding into our confidence first. I don't know about you, but that to me always feels so welcoming, going, oh, I can be held in my ground like that beautiful tree. I'll be held while I purge. It's time to put down other people's energy for good. So I wanted to talk to you about a program that I am releasing today called The Energy Code. This is somewhere where we do get to ground into our confidence. It's all about how do we learn about energy, stuff we've never been taught in school. We weren't taught at marriage counselling. We haven't been taught anywhere. I've put together a 5-week live teaching, coaching, and energy releasing experience for people that are ready to actually walk a little bit closer to their energy sensitivity and learn its superpower. So in this experience, you will get that, understand what it means to be grounded into your confidence of your amazing gift. Switch out of that sensitivity conversation, which is burden, into how does energy actually work? Like, what are the fundamentals of what's going on here and how do you work it for yourself? To connect, love, and cultivate the energy relationship for you that's relevant for you so that you can actually bring yourself and your work to the world without burden. That's what the experience is about. That's the transformation that you get. And this is how it works. We do 5 weeks. Over week 1, we look at the 5 energy truths that no one has told you. So instead of blindly walking through your sensitivity, you'll get that grounded understanding of what energy is doing at any given time. Week 2, we look at creating independence in relationships. So you can get out of other people's vibrational crap by understanding where you're at versus where they're at. Independence is the game when it comes to energy sensitivity. In week 3, we're going to step out of entanglement without losing friends, unless you want to lose them. But stepping into your power and sensitivity and out of the entanglement we have doesn't mean we have to lose people in our life. It does mean that we start to learn energetic boundaries for yourself so you understand theirs. Energetic boundaries are different to other boundaries because we're working with understanding vibration versus behavior. In week 4, we get to activate your specific energy code. How are you going to walk as your amazing sensitive self in the world so that your code is activated and you are absolutely outside of other people's shit? And week 5, I'm going to do a very specific base chakra entanglement so that you can create sustainability. One of the things that's happening right now is we're having people's resources, fear of no resources, fear of livability being activated. We're being poked in the base chakra absolutely and deliberately. It's part of why we're feeling so heavy. It's not sustainable. This is where we attract money and wealth and security in ourselves where we can bring that deep grounding forward. So in week 5, I do this very specific base chakra entanglement process with you so that you can step out of it and create sustainability. I want you to go into the world with your code intact and for it to grow and to be cultivated. So that's the 5 weeks over. It's like an overview for you. Now, each module has live bespoke visualizations and energy releases. There are guided play sheets for reflection and journaling. I am teaching this live, so you're here with me, you get to ask questions, and there is a group community where you can come in and out of every day, and I'll be answering those questions for you every single day. Now, the investment, full price is $555, but I have an early bird for you amazing people who are watching this right now until the 24th of October. You can get $100 off for $444, and we start on the 1st of November. This is a link you can go to learn more about the program and learn more about what's going on if you want to join. I've never done a fast action bonus before, but here I am. Look at me go. I'm going to provide you with the ultimate energy grounding pack. I have a signature grounding spray, which I developed about 6 years ago, working with 13 essential oils that brings your body into deep grounding and calm straight away. I will provide you with 2 grounding visualizations and meditations that you'll get to access and help you understand and release any caca you're carrying right now. There's also a grounding guide that anyone can use, including your kids. Like, it's really accessible for everybody. And I'm going to give you a free signed copy of a book that it's been released that I am part of, called This I Know Is True. It's a collection of stories celebrating awakened women to inspire community progress. And it's my pleasure to give those away, but this is for the first 10 people only. So if you are going, yes, this is me, please go to this link, this one here, and you can enroll straight away. Yes, there is a payment plan, and we start on the 1st of November. And I'm really, really excited to bring this program to the world. I'm so excited to help people step out of feeling like you have to carry everything before you get to be you, that you have to process everybody else before you get to be you. So if this is you, come and join us. Before we head off, April, is there anything you would like to ask or reflect on?
Wow, I want to say thank you. I have learned so much from this 1 hour. And I'm just so grateful that you share so generously the way you share in your masterclasses. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for being here live and helping everyone on the replay navigate through the content. If you're on the replay and you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can get to me easy on Instagram at Marie Eddings. Thank you so much for being here. And for those who really want to step into this right now, I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thanks so much. Have an amazing, amazing day.